Look, we're gonna see how this goes. Hopefully, coach. Asshole.
The Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach matchup is shaping up quite well, and what's more eye-catching is to see a fighter who would instill fear in Gervonta Davis through mere training footage. But it's way more than that. It's been a long time since we heard about Gervonta Davis feeling nervous before a fight, and even when we did, it was unnoticeable until Gervonta Davis admitted it himself. But how was Roach, the clear underdog, able to do this?
Yes, sir. Come on, quick. Drop those hips. Nice. Come on. Give me that explosion. Rip. Good.
Honestly, it's totally different this time, and many boxing fans have pointed at how this could be born out of their amateur history. And what's more is even a great tragedy Lamont Roach carries in and out of his training camp every day.
There it is. There it is. Come on. 10 seconds. Breathe. Come on. Come on.
You want to know what it is? Just hop along. As for their amateur history, we saw this play out a few months ago between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, and how their shared amateur history induced so much animosity between the fighters, and how eventually we saw that it wasn't a fight of an underdog, not even when they were three in the amateurs. Here, Gervonta Davis is on a 2-0 against Lamont Roach, and the 130-pounder has recently claimed there was a robbery against him when they first fought. And really, there's no better time for Lamont Roach to right his wrongs than now, as he has the opportunity within his arm's reach to become a first ever fighter to come out victorious against Gervonta Davis. It's boxing. Nothing is impossible. Interestingly, Lamont Roach is gearing himself up for the biggest moment of his career. He wants more than just a big payday from Gervonta Davis. He wants Gervonta Davis's belt. He wants revenge, and his training camp experience is bringing him closer to that every day. What's even crazier and might be more fearful for Gervonta Davis is the tragedy that characterizes Lamont Roach's training experience, which would always be a part of him as long as he fights: the loss of his coach some years ago. Even Gervonta Davis knows it's hard to defeat someone who has a reason to fight for, or one fighting from the place of pain. Think of Buster Douglas, who had just lost his mother when he became the unlikely winner against Mike Tyson over 30 years ago. Lamont Roach Jr. was nearing the end of training camp in mid-October 2017 for an upcoming fight when the DC-born boxer received word that his cousin and trainer, Bernard Roach, had collapsed during a workout. Known affectionately as Boogaloo, Bernard Roach died shortly thereafter at 52, but not before his pupil, then a rising prospect at 130 pounds, was able to visit with him for a final time. 8 days following the death of one of the most revered trainers in the Washington region, Lamont Roach Jr. beat Luis Hinojosa via a first-round knockout in Verona, NY, in a tune-up for more consequential opponents.
Coming up short as a world champion, getting back on the grind, and then coming back up to win the championship as a free agent. You know what I'm saying? But Golden Boy.
With his father, Lamont SR, serving as his trainer, Roach dedicated the triumph to Boogaloo, and since has kept his memory alive by ascending to the upper reaches of the division, most recently capturing the WBA Super Featherweight Championship via 12-round split decision over Hector Luis Garcia on Nov 25 in Las Vegas. "I think about him all the time, not even just boxing," Roach said of his former trainer, who he had worked with since he was 9. "You gotta think, I was seeing him for 13 years straight for damn near every day of my life. So once that tragedy happened, it's just, I'm obliged to finish what he started. He is the founder, and he laid the foundation for us. He gave us the blueprint, and we capitalized."
They the ones who had full control over my career and guided me the right way to be prepared to be a world champ.
Can you tell me about the relationship, as
Roach continues to honor his late trainer, who also mentored DC boxing luminaries such as DeMarcus Corley and Andrew Council, not by winning titles alone. At the Knox Hughes Boxing Gym in Capitol Heights, MD, where Roach conducts training camps, a banner with pictures of Bernard Roach hangs along the ceiling near the front entrance. One of the images shows Bernard Roach in his uniform as a Prince George's County firefighter. He served in that capacity for 20 years. Bernard Roach also boxed while in the military during the 1980s before embarking on a decorated career as a trainer.
Father trainer, because it's interesting, everyone's dynamic, right? Like you got father trainer relationship where, you know, you got like Devin Haney and Bill Haney.
Bernard Roach was in the corner when Lamont Roach Jr. won his first title in January 2017, beating Alejandro Valdez for the vacant WBC Youth Silver Super Featherweight Championship in Indio Calif. With this tragedy in Roach's career, we may just see Gervonta Davis return to where he was on fight night against Ryan Garcia. It was Davis who emerged victorious, but he has now admitted he was relieved to get past an opponent who had worried him as a result of the sheer number of knockouts he had achieved.
You're gonna feel right away. Huh? You're gonna feel right away.
I'm a what?
You're gonna feel it right away.
Well, his brother came in, he told...
Davis fought Frank Martin on June 15th to defend his World Boxing Association lightweight belt. He said he had to be clued in before he fights Frank Martin after feeling nervous in his last fight against Ryan Garcia. Garcia met Davis at a catchweight in a huge fight back in 2023, and the heavy-handed Californian was, although an underdog, seen as a real threat. Both Americans brought with them an undefeated record, and it was Davis who held on to his as the more seasoned fighter. Under the tutelage of Floyd Mayweather Jr., he has collected several belts across 2 different weight classes.
Told me like, you gonna feel it? I said, what? But I heard what he said though. I kept asking him like what? I was nervous. It's just me seeing him knock out so...
Davis has always been a fearsome fighter and rarely gives away any sense of weakness before his fights, and he went on to control the fight, sending Garcia to the canvas in the 2nd round before stopping him with a brutal liver shot in the 7th. Garcia recovered to put his career back on track with an upset win over World Boxing Council super lightweight champion Devin Haney, though he is currently shrouded in controversy after returning an adverse result in a drugs test. Davis did not fight for a long time after then, though, and he told PBC that he was feeling uncharacteristically nervous given the challenge posed by Garcia last year.
So many people, you know, it's like Sam knock out people in the gym, Sam knock out people on the clips. I'm like, what the hell?
And Garcia putting the pressure.
He said, I was nervous. His brother came in and told me I'm going to feel it, and I was like, what? But I heard what he said, but I kept asking him. I was nervous. It was just me seeing him knock out so many people, like seeing him knock out people in the gym. Discussing his path to victory, he said that Garcia had not been patient enough to use his powerful left hook to its full effect. Davis explained, he wasn't patient. Maybe if he was patient, he would have landed with some of those shots. He just started rushing. I caught him. He made a little face. I know you're hit, and then he just dropped to his knee. I was relieved.
Sean Davis.
But he's not patient. He wasn't patient. If he was more patient, maybe he would have landed some of them shots. Every time you go up to a fight, you gotta.
Looking ahead to his title defense against Martin on Saturday in Las Vegas, he told PBC in another interview that he was looking to change his mentality and that he would instead have to be clued in. The winner can expect to be given the chance to start unifying the division, with Haney's departure breaking up all 4 belts. On December 14th, junior lightweight champion Lamont Roach Jr. will face Gervonta Tank Davis in Houston. Although many critics have pointed out the weight difference between the two, Roach does not believe it will affect the outcome of the fight. This bout will be for Davis's WBA title in a pay-per-view event, PPV.
I always worry about what somebody gonna do to you. You know how good you are, but it's still like, what can he bring to the table that...
Roach explained in an interview with Najee Grampus of Cigar Talk that, despite critics' opinions, Davis is not the biggest lightweight. Everybody he fights is damn near bigger than him, Roach said. The only person that was smaller than him was Isaac Cruz, and that's just in height. Even though Lamont Roach currently competes in the 130-pound division, his plan was always to move up to 135 pounds to capture another title.
The weight is going to have anything to do with this fight?
No, I don't think so at all. Obviously, Tank isn't the biggest 135-pounder. Everybody.
I fight at 130 because that's where I campaign at. That's where I started my career. That's where I worked my way up to a world title, Roach explained. He also made it clear that the decision to move up came earlier than expected. However, he feels ready to face Davis in this new weight class. Lamont Roach, who holds a record of 25 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw, has competed at the 130-pound limit since 2017. Before that, he weighed around 131 or 132 pounds, though in his early professional fights, he weighed more than 134 pounds.
These fights is damn near bigger than him. I think the only person that was smaller than him was Pitbull. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just in height and stature.
When a boxer is starting their career, they don't necessarily have to make 130 pounds because we're not in title contention or none of that, Roach explained. On the other hand, Gervonta Davis, a 29-year-old from Baltimore, has had a notable career moving across various divisions. Davis began as a featherweight in 2013, but it was in 2017 that he established himself in the junior lightweight division after knocking out Jose Pedraza for a world title. Since then, he has fought in several weight classes, including lightweight and junior welterweight, before returning to 135 pounds.
He was, technically bigger than Tank too. But, Tank is comfortable at 135, so I don't blame him for fighting that way. But he's not a big 35. I don't see why.
Both fighters have a slight height difference. Roach stands at 1.70 meters, while Davis is 1.65 meters tall, reinforcing the idea that the physical difference will not be a decisive factor in the fight. Lamont Roach emphasized that his opponent feels comfortable at 135 pounds, but doesn't consider him a big lightweight. Gervonta Davis released a fight poster for his title defense fight against Lamont Roach Jr. This fight is scheduled for December 14th at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, which comes with a PPV. But in this case, after announcing the fight, Davis deleted the notice, and fans and pundits pondered over the relevance of the fight. Let's dive into the story to understand the full picture.
People was like, oh, you brought up a smaller guy, woo-doo-woo, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, to me personally, I'm not studying that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to keep saying that. They're going to keep saying that. You know what I'm saying? I fight at 130 because that's what I campaigned at. That's why I started my career. That's where I campaigned. That's why I worked my way up to a world title. And that's what I was going to do. My plan was always to move up to 35 and win another title. So it just happened a little, a little earlier than normal.
Yeah. But, I mean, you fought at 35 before.
Them was just, so technically, them wasn't just 35 fights. Like, when a boxer starting their career, you don't necessarily have to make 130 pounds because we're not in title contention or none of that. So the opponents that I was getting, the opponents that were there or were available.
Gervonta Davis stands at 30 wins, 28 of which he has finished with knockouts to his name. He doesn't have a loss, and though he may not necessarily be popular, he has some true and loyal fans. However, there are emerging fears within his management that the fight will not get the projected pay-per-view sales figures. Some critics of the social networks criticized the fight, calling it non-PPV worthy, and stated whether fans would be willing to pay $75.95 for what they perceive as a less than stellar matchup.
At 130 because that's what I campaigned at. That's why I started my career. That's where I campaigned. That's why I worked my way up to a world title. And that's what I was going to do.
This sentiment could lead to disappointing buy rates for the event, especially if the fight doesn't create the sort of hype that usually accompanies a Davis title defense. That set up quite a spark when some pointed out that Gervonta Davis has sparred with Lamont Roach in the past and even fought him in the amateurs. And while many thought the choice was interesting, many were left wondering why. Davis's trainer, Calvin Ford, thought it was done because he knows Roach well. It was more of community support. However, such reasons will not be appealing to fans who want Davis to pit against much harder competitors. Davis is already on the threshold of turning 30 with his birthday on November 7th. Questions about his career arise.
My plan was always to move up to 35 and win another title. So it just happened a little, a little earlier than normal.
Yeah, but
in his professional career that spans 11 years, Davis has not experienced competing with someone of his level. He has had many chances to face other top-ranked lightweights in the division, but for some reason, he has always opted for fights against less famous opponents. This latest decision to fight Lamont Roach Jr. is looked at by many as another bad choice of opponents that he is choosing not to face. Gervonta Davis's indifference to fans is clear in his fight selections, often ignoring their preferences. It seems that he intends to defend whoever he desires the most, whether the people support it or not.
I mean, you fought at 35 before.
Them was just, so technically them wasn't just 35 fights. You know, like when a boxer starting their career, they don't necessarily.
Although he agrees that he would wish fan support on this, he does not seem to mind if they do not buy into this matchup. In the days leading to the fight, there has been a split among boxing experts regarding the significance of Gervonta Davis's fight against Roach, with questions being asked about the entertainment value of the fight and the type of fighter that Davis will be matching himself against. The question that remains is whether Davis can bring back anticipation and the cash of his critics. Instead, fans can only dream of a future fight that would reveal Gervonta Davis at the level of his opponents and abilities.
Really have to make 130 pounds because we're not in title contention or none of that. So the opponents that I was getting, the opponents that were there or were available, opponents that were selected for me were probably bigger or they just couldn't make.
The World Boxing Association approved Roach moving up to challenge for the title on September 30th, stating that he must return to junior lightweight to defend his title against Albert Badargaziev should he lose against Davis. Davis is coming off an impressive stoppage of Frank Martin in June, while rumors and trash talk between the fighters had suggested a fight with Shakur Stevenson would be in Davis's future. That was always more likely to take place in 2025 than before the end of this year. With Davis, the biggest American star in boxing, needing an opponent, Roach gets an opportunity at a big money bout. Roach won his title in November 2023 with an upset of Hector Luis Garcia.
Wait, like the fight that you probably talking about that occurred at like 40, I was supposed to fight at 32. He was 8 pounds overweight. They made him lose weight.
In February, the World Boxing Association mandated that Roach negotiate a fight with John O'Carroll within 30 days and that the winner of Roach versus Carroll would have 120 days to fight the next mandatory, Otar Aronosian. Despite the order and the fact that Carroll and Aronosian both won eliminators to become mandatories, Roach instead was approved to fight No. 12 ranked Fergal McCrory in a fight that was a washout win for the champion. There had been rumors that this PBC pay-per-view event would be a doubleheader featuring David Benavidez defending his World Boxing Council interim light heavyweight championship against Jesse Hart, hopefully setting up a showdown with the winner of Saturday's undisputed light heavyweight title clash between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev.
I went, ate breakfast, and weighed in. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. That's how it be in the beginning of people's career. That's why different people fight at different weights.
However, in recent weeks, talk has increased that Benavidez could instead take part in a highly anticipated fight with David Morrell in January, and the fight with Hart was not announced along with Davis versus Roach. Lamont Roach SR, father and coach of WBA junior lightweight Lamont Roach Jr., knows his son faces a significant challenge in his December 14th bout against World Boxing Association lightweight champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis at the Toyota Center in Houston, but he believes the moment holds special meaning for both personal and regional reasons. Lamont and Tank have history and were amateur rivals, Roach SR said. Baltimore versus DC is real.
17. Okay, 17 years in the game. Where did No Excuse? Where did that get it started?
Me and my cousin, when we started out in 2006.
They fought and sparred many times. It's always been great work on both sides. To see them now compete on the biggest stage is a special moment. The fight will mark Roach Jr.'s first time headlining a pay-per-view and his second official bout at lightweight following a 2014 catchweight fight against Rafael Francis. Roach Jr., 29 of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, will take on the undefeated Davis, also 29 of Baltimore. Roach SR emphasized that the significance of the fight goes beyond the ring. While the No Excuses boxing gym, where Roach Jr. trains, has produced numerous professional fighters, its primary mission has always been to guide young people.
17. Okay, 17 years in the game. Where did No Excuse? Where did that get it started?
Me and my cousin, when we started out in 2006.
It's great for young kids in this area and young aspiring boxers around the world, Roach SR said. I was really hoping it would land in the DMV, but I guess we're taking it to the great city and state of Houston, Texas. The fight also highlights a historic rivalry between the two boxing clubs that shaped both fighters, No Excuse Boxing and Upton Boxing. I mentioned the history between Tank and Lamont, but it's also history between the two boxing clubs that produced these world champions, Roach SR added.
I like that. Yeah, team no excuse, team no excuse. You have two sons.
Roach Jr., who has been boxing since the age of 9, has long been a standout at No Excuses Boxing Gym. According to his father, this fight represents the culmination of years of hard work. "We've been a top fighter since we started," Roach SR said. "We accomplished a lot in the amateurs and the pro ranks. We're a world champion and we belong here. The world will see." Roach Jr. isn't shying away from the challenge of moving up in weight to face Davis, widely regarded as one of boxing's top pound-for-pound fighters. Roach claimed the World Boxing Association Junior Lightweight title last November after defeating Hector Luis Garcia, a former Davis opponent.
Phenomenal fighters. How has that been for you, watching the maturation process from here to where they at now, world-renowned talent?
It's been a journey.
Earlier this year, he successfully defended his title at home, stopping the previously undefeated Feargal McCrory in the 8th round. Davis also has fought just once in 2024, delivering an 8th-round knockout of Frank Martin in June. Prior to that, Davis scored a high-profile stoppage of Ryan Garcia in a pay-per-view blockbuster in April 2023, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out